The first thing that I want to get a sense of is where this project came from. What inspired you and Chris to write this, and what was the genesis of it?
Sure. Well, my co-screenwriter, Chris Bergoch, brought this world to my attention. I honestly did not know. I had never heard of the term the hidden homeless. I didn't know there was a situation going on in Kissimmee and Orlando in which families were living in motels, budget motels, right outside of the parks. And he was sending me news articles. His mother had recently relocated there, and he was also sending me photos from his trips down there. The more I read into it, I think I was drawn to that same juxtaposition as the journalists were of children growing up in these motels outside of what we consider the happiest place on earth for children. Now, at the same time, him and I, we've always been talking about wanting to make a film about children. I am personally extremely inspired and influenced by The Little Rascals. Every one of my films have a wink towards Hal Roach's Our Gang. And if you think about what The Little Rascals were, there were these, these comic shorts from the 20s and 30s set against the Great Depression, and most of the characters in Our Gang were living in poverty. And yet it was focusing on the joy of childhood and the humor and the heart. And I thought this might
and
be...
And their imagination.
Yes, imagination. And I thought this might be an opportunity here to sort of make a present-day Little Rascals and focus on the comedy of it. That's important as an entertainment medium. The film is to entertain an audience and have audiences laughing with these kids, but at the same time, hopefully leaving them with this, perhaps an issue they did not know about, and shining a light on what's happening in the U.S. right now. So.
Talk about how this film was shot and what equipment you used and to get the look of this, and especially you've got a purple motel and you've got the big orange and you've got Florida skies, which I'm sure are very unpredictable because you've got clouds and rain, and you ended up having it all in there. So talk about those conditions.
I mean, it was very clear from the beginning, talking to Sean, that we wanted to tell the story from the children's point of view. And it was kind of our search was to get back to this more naive or young POV where things, even if it's a seedy hotel, it's still, magical. And even though reality is not great, as a kid, you don't see that. You just see surprise and, you see the world with different eyes. So that was our objective all along. We had... obviously never being dogmatic. I think we approached most sequences with a very open mind and heart, but that was kind of our leading, intention. So camera low, at the kid's height. And then also kind of like, we wanted to pump up the colors a little bit to make it seem a bit more magical and kind of really translate a kid's POV, so, but still keeping it real, so it was a fine line, I guess, to walk. Still maybe having people see this movie and, how real is this? How is this a documentary? But at the same time, still have a little bit of that magic and a little bit of that surprise and just wonder in the image, a little bit, dreamy, I guess. Or ice cream, I think we called it many times, have a film look like ice cream, kind of.
I believe most of your cast was either fairly inexperienced or even had never made a movie before. Can you talk about that?
Sure.
Casting process and the mixing and the working with non-actors or inexperienced actors?
Right. Thank you. I like to divide it into three categories. A seasoned actor, a first-timer, and a non-professional. Because when I call my first-timers a non-professional, it hurts them getting more work in this town. Because sometimes the industry hears non-professional, they think unprofessional. The non-professionals were basically people that we found there in the moment, or residents of the motel, or just locals that we said, get involved in this one scene, crowd scenes, etc. Sometimes working them in a little bit more. But then there are first timers, and that I apply that to Mela, to Bria, to all the kids. They were all found in different ways. I mentioned the casting call earlier. I wanted the kids to be local. It was very important to me, not only for the accent, the slight accent, but also so that they could go home at night and feel comfortable. We were taking their summer away from them, essentially. So we tried to make it a summer camp for them. And so they all came from casting calls except for Valeria, who plays Jancy in the film, her best friend. I found her in Target one night. I love doing street casting on my own sometimes. We also had another wonderful street caster by the name of Patty Wiley, but we were always on the lookout. And I just was going to Target one night trying to get milk, and there's this beautiful little girl with vibrant red hair, and I gave the mother, her mother, Eve, my card, and I said, please have her come in for an audition. And I think Eve was really freaked out at first, but she Googled me and everything was okay. Then Bria, who plays Haley in the film, she came through social media. I actually found her on Instagram, which I know is very unorthodox, but no, there's something about her. I really believe in this girl. I'm watching her videos on Instagram. She's making me laugh. She's already putting herself out there, so I know there's going to be she's not going to be intimidated. She's already an extrovert, so I know that. She has the physicality, she has the humor, she's self-deprecating. Let's just give her a chance. And she flew to Orlando. She auditioned with the kids, and we knew from that moment that we were going to go with her. And then, and of course, Willem came through, the agencies, and Carmen Cuba, who cast the film. And so, there were, we just try to mix it up with casting.
So you told me that you shot on 35 millimeter film, and at the same time, I want to talk to the two of you about the script a little bit. It seems to me like there are moments that, first of all, most of it feels very spontaneous or real, but at the same time, there are some moments where, the filmmaker in me says that was probably an improv line. How tightly scripted was this? And talk a little bit too about, I was sitting there through the entire film waiting for something horrible to happen, which was, even though there were moments of levity, this was a dark living situation. So talk about balancing out what your audiences were expecting and the surprise and finding the tone you did.
Well, we had a 102-page screenplay that evolved over the course of getting the idea in 2011 all the way to shooting in last summer. And, working with Sean's really thrilling for me because it's not the traditional, you write the script and then he goes and shoots it. We're constantly evolving it right up until your camera's rolling. And we're throwing out lines for the actors and,
sometimes while his camera's rolling.
While his camera's rolling, yeah. And, it creates for a really spontaneous feel, and I love it because then it kind of helps the organic, feeling that you're describing. And then there's other scenes, like the perfume scene, where Sean just literally in the script, he'll write, a couple of lines, like the Justin Bieber line, I think was one of them. You'll smell like Justin Bieber. And then it's just candid camera, docu-style, where they just go try to sell perfume. And it's this mixture, I think, that creates the organic feeling. But, the ending was always something that we never wavered from, I believe. Up until that, the script changed a lot, but that first treatment always we knew we were going there, and we knew how that was going to get darker and darker as it played out.
So Alexis, I'm told the last scene was shot on an iPhone and the rest was 35 anamorphic. We'll talk about the iPhone and why that was used. I mean, maybe you need to...
the iPhone, I guess our main reason was stealth. That was, at the same time, there was something special about that scene where we really wanted to differentiate it from the rest of the film. And so that just, that worked out perfectly. We managed to get in there. We actually, Chris actually had us some T-shirts made to appear like a family vacation. In
That's what I was wondering what this looked like. So when you had the iPhone, what was that like? I mean, are you like this with your fingers, or did you have a stick?
No, just with my hand. And we're all wearing these silly blue T-shirts saying we're like the whatever family. And I'm running after Brooklyn and Valeria, like not once, but maybe, 11 times, all the way from the entrance. And I'm thinking, Jesus, somebody's going to suspect at some point that we're doing, but no, just, it was just a group of, just like a family outing and getting some weird footage there. I don't know.
It's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Talk about working with those particular children, and first of all, just the keeping that character of Mooney so consistent, as well as dealing with the emotion of those scenes?
Sure. Well, as I said before, Brooklyn Prince is on a whole other level. I really put her in the same camp as Mickey Rooney and Jodie Foster and the Fannings. She was born to do this. She's already, she had experience coming into this. She had done a few commercials. She understands character and scene, even at 6 years old. But that scene, we had scripted, obviously, for tears, but we didn't want to rehearse it. We discussed it. Samantha Kwan, again, the acting coach, discussed it with her mom, and they said, we talked about it at home, and Brooklyn knows she's going to put herself in that place of somebody not being able to see her friend again. So we never had to go to the place of like, oh, think about your dog who died or anything like that. No, she came to set that day very confident. We could see that. And we set up the camera, and it was over Valeria's shoulder in that close-up. And as we started rolling camera, little Valeria, who's still little Valeria, not in her character yet, started saying, Brooklyn, are we going to have a sleepover or something along those lines? Because they became very good friends on set. And so she was having a little bit of small talk, and Brooklyn goes, Valeria, I'm going to have to focus right now. I'm about to cry, and I have to go to another place. I have to concentrate. And we're just like, oh, okay, she's taking this seriously. Next thing you know, oh my gosh, she started taking it to a level we didn't even know. And I remember, I think you were on my right, and Sam was on my left, Samantha, and we were just, I think I was holding Sam's hand, and we were just looking and saying, this is incredible. She's really going there, and this is this is a performance from a child I've never seen before. And then I wanted to yell cut, because I just couldn't take it anymore, but we waited until she got her last line out, goodbye, and at that point, cut, and like everybody, it was like a swarm of, crew members, everyone hugging her, and she came down, and it's just an incredible moment that she got to that place on her own, which I still am so astonished, and I still am so incredibly honored to have worked with this little girl.
Thank you very much for being here, and thank you for staying to listen.